Wicky, the last time we met physically here at APOS in 2019, it's an interesting time because you had the whole hook iFlix thing that had kind of got out of the market, but it wasn't the pandemic. Theatrical was very strong. But there was still a question to both of you, on as the streamers were just starting to come in, would the production values of Indonesian content hold up? Would a paying audience pay for that? Would it drive engagement around that? And I think 4 years later, there's some interesting answers to those questions. Let's start with you, Wicky. What have you found as you work with the streamers and also found a larger market for your audience beyond Indonesia? But let's talk about Indonesia first. Do you think production values have, or production standards have improved? The quality of storytelling has improved?
Yes, I think years ago when I was in APOS, of course, the question was like, what's the challenge that you face? And of course, the answer was always, oh, we need more writers, we need better, directors. And yes, we still are shorthanded from creative, but definitely it has become way better in terms of the creative. And I would say, thanks to the streamers pushing for better quality, like they do push us to a limit where they want us to really give something as high as quality, and I guess that is something that they have really helped for the Indonesian market to kind of help us build this continuity of quality, that everything we do has to be on a quality level, and production value is, I think, at its highest level at this moment, even in series and films, and I mean, Manoj was talking about, budgets on being bigger. Naveen was also here just talking about, streamings, giving challenges to do stuff that's bigger. I guess because they enforce you to strive to be better, it helps us to always think to be better.
Got it. Joe, what's your perspective on that?
I think, yeah, production value is important. Of course, the audience can see it visually. They can enjoy it. They know high quality or low quality of the movies from the first 5 seconds of the movie. If it's a good grading, is a good, cinematic feels, if it's there or not. But from the perspective of action genre, I also believe the quality of the action needs to be real. So I believe that the conventional way people shoot action is for the sake of visual, for the sake of, you do the master and you pick up a little bit here and there, just
right.
Yeah, but the way our team, the people that we started from the rate until now, is quite rebel, what we learned from Gareth, and then somehow we still adopting that kind of technique that we always focus in storytelling. So Hollywood always try to visual first, production value in terms of visual first, and then the storytelling inside the fight is something they kind of like not prioritize, but in an Indonesian way, I believe in the movie that I'm doing and I'm gonna do in the future is always about the storytelling. Because in a drama scene, you can hear it, when the actors convey what they want is through the lines, but in the action scenes, every second counts. You gotta know if this character's fighting for their life. Is he winning? Is he dying?
Right.
Is he in a doubt that he's gonna win? The audience needs to get it every second. That storytelling is the most important thing from the action perspective, and
right.
that thing that we need to keep carry on. And then whether if it's theatrical or if we're gonna do an action movie for streaming, it cannot okay, we do theatrical, we're gonna do more. I think we gotta give both same quality of what we're going to do in the future.
Understood. So you obviously both seen some elevation in the storytelling, in the craft, in the talent to this stage. I guess the natural question, we heard from Netflix earlier today, from Amazon and Garo's team, what's the next phase looking like? What are the challenges to overcome? Where do you see it going next over the next 3 years, and what are some of the problems to solve and challenges to overcome that you see?
Well, Indonesian action genre is not the favorite genre in our house right now. I think because there are a lot of movies try to kind of try to push this genre to the market, but now it's kind of the fact is horror is dominating, in terms of box
Yes.
office. So
Yeah.
it's a homework for all of us right now to, maybe we're fishing in the wrong pool. Maybe maybe it's time for us not trying to be Hollywood. Maybe it's time for us to make an action movie with a strong identity, that who we are, with our introducing to the world our culture, without being afraid of if the global market is not going to understand. But why we think about that perspective? Why don't we introduce about who we are and make them excited about what we have in doing, the genre, in that genre, in the movie. So I think that's a challenge that I need, with all of us working hard, that the future, we learned from so many movies that we did, that we're trying somehow to be more global, but losing our identity.
So you want to make something authentically local that travels anyway.
Yeah, I think we just, be who we are. We do a movie about Indonesia, action genre, but still be faithful to who we are. And then without being afraid the global not going to understand, but what if our storytelling to introduce the movie to them and make them understand. So I think the Korean cinema did pretty good job. I think it has been doing a really great job, actually, because I watch a lot of Korean cinemas, TV series. The quality inspired, cinematically inspired by a lot of filmmakers, by European, French, America, Japan. But the core of what they're doing so good, in my opinion, is they never lose their identity as a country, as a human being of Korean, cultural, geography, language, and even when they talk to each other. So that makes the global people want to know, and Google maybe like, hey, that joke is quite like inside joke. I want to know because they delivered so much, and then they did such a great job with their product, with their arts.
We've seen these, as you said, a few years of remarkable growth. This year, I think there's been a little bit of a correction in the market, particularly on the streaming side. As you go forward, Wicky, particularly with Screenplay, and you work with the different platforms and different partners, both in Indonesia and globally, what do you think is working? What's your advice to people in the room? What are the challenges, and where do you want to elevate these partnerships to going forward?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the content, I would have to say that yes, there are certain genres that on streaming or in the box office are safer to play genres. Like if in the box office, horror is something that if you do it right and do it well, it's less riskier to do. And even in streaming, right, if you do genres that actually speak to young adult women, it's something that's much less riskier to do. But as we've been talking about going global and how the streamers are more and more looking into local content that can travel, because I don't see that the spending has dropped. I think what the streamers are looking for on how they can definitely win the market, but add more to the market that they're spending on, and if a show that does well in Indonesia can travel a little bit, it does a lot of success for the platform itself. So for Screenplay is basically we're still going to continue on striving to get better in production value, in storytelling, and I guess our belief is the crime action genre is something that will definitely pick up because we've seen it happen in the other countries that are similar to our market, right? And I mean, like I mentioned about India, India has very good crime dramas and crime action shows that really speak to the audience and speak to a global market. So I guess that's something that we definitely will want to do more.
Joe, I guess from your perspective, you've been working so prominently in the US, we've seen big global co-production breakouts like Tokyo Vice, on Max. There was a certain kind of collaboration. Do you see that happening between US and Indonesia with Screenplay and other players? How do you see that developing in the next few years for your genre particularly?
I think it's potentially, well, we have so many stories. Of course, we have so many stories locally that we want the world to know. We want to tell the story. I think joint ventures, especially like the show that you mentioned, Tokyo Vibe, which a friend of mine, Brad Ken, wrote it, it's very possible. But we're looking for that opportunity, to be honest, for us, because joint venture happens with both parties want to do it, right? So,
Of course.
yeah, for us, like, we're very open as an actors. You know, I'm very open with the possibility that the West wanna jump in and then try to merge and then tell story about two worlds collides, about two characters that one is American, one is Indonesian, trapped in one world, try to find solution of what they're struggling with. So that potential is always there, but the thing is, we need a bold move from writers, local writers or Hollywood writers, to make it happen. I think OTT is very, maybe like there's something that they want.
Of course.
I believe
Yeah.
like all OTTs, all streamers are probably, this is something we want to do, but somebody needs to kick the ball first, right? Somebody needs to like write it and make it happen. Tokyo Vice is a good start. Maybe it's time, like they go to the Southeast Asia and telling a story about how two worlds collide, how perspective of or the people from Southeast Asia to see a problem, a global problem, or whatever specific problem
Right.
that the character's doing. So fingers crossed, man. I think, well, we're very open. We're excited to have a global joint venture, or a global international movie to be, you know, to be work together.
Understood.